Hello and welcome back. This is going to be a pretty basic tutorial on how I use OBS Studio. A little bit different than normal videos that I do, but I figured that this could actually be pretty useful for some people, especially if they want to get into recording videos for YouTube, or if they want to get into streaming or whatever. This is what I use for both. Super handy, so I will move in OBS Studio here. I currently have it set up with my normal, I don't know, I think it's technically in my recording setup, but there's no difference really yet. So I'm just going to go with the basics of what you can see currently and what each of these do, as well as then I'll probably dive into each of those sections independently. Alright, first is the scenes. You can see that a scenes column. You can see that there are a little bunch of names here, so I currently have empty selected and there's nothing here. And then there's game with webcam, and I'm just gonna kind of run you through my system of this. So there's a W with the slash if you don't know for some reason, that means with. Game with webcam, upper right. Game with webcam, upper right 2. So this is upper right. My webcam is currently not working. It is plugged in, but it's just not working. I'm double checking to see if it's plugged in on my hub. I think it is, so I don't know why it's not working. Anyway, I'm not worried about it. So normally there's a webcam up here. It's a good start to the video, right? So there's that, and then there's a background. Actually, I changed this, so I'm gonna switch over to what I use normally. All right, so I moved over to my streaming thing because this is actually what I use more often than not. I don't even know the last time I used my recording setup in here, but so you can see that I have a background now. So basically what I did with this was I'm going to move over to the sources real quick, explain how these work. So obviously they're all labeled so that you can kind of understand what they are. Alerts, so this is for when I stream. If someone follows me or whatnot, it will basically that's how you see it on stream. If I launch Streamlabs, I will show you how that works. Alright, so if I test a follow, if someone follows me, this is what it would show up, but with their name instead. There you go. So you can see the little like GIF came up and it said Rating 9 Cents started following. And so you can customize that on Streamlabs and stuff. That might be another video at another time. But if you're interested in that, definitely go check out Streamlabs. I'll try and put links to a lot of the things I mentioned in the description if you want to go check them out. So I'm going to kind of show you through what I actually have on this scene. So this is my typical thing I use for streaming. I prefer to have my webcam in the upper right, but some games have things in the corners, so either I'll move it like into here. This is upper left, lower left, upper right too, so you can see it's shifted over from that, and it's a little bit different. So I have my logo actually behind, you can see, so Rating 910 is this logo. It's selected currently. Let me unlock all these. So this is a background, it's behind this layer right here. So the webcam normally goes over this. This has a border. I wish it was working, but it is not, so I will work without it. So it has this, and so this, you can see game is down here. So this is a game capture window. So you can select why is calculator running? That makes no sense. You can select what you want to capture. What it will basically take and put on there. So I have this. So if my game ever crashes, instead of a black screen, it just shows this instead. And then a webcam, obviously. Radio green is the name of my background for my webcam. It's just the green I use, the background that I use for my logo. And the main monitor is actually what I'm using to record my entire. This is what I'm going to use to record the entire video. I have a separate window of OBS. That's why you can see two of them down here. I have a separate window of OBS recording my main screen. So that's pretty straightforward on how those are. I will show you how I add those, or how just in general you add those as well later. But you can see I have a bunch of different ones you can add. I'm assuming you can add as many as you want. I have, you know, just random ones just for things that I don't use often. You know, I have like the reaction or group one. That's when I have multiple things. I believe I use the group when I film stick fight. That way I could have the camera pick up a wider angle, and I had a little bit of different setting. I have different, a different placement. I had everything a little bit different than I do normally, but that's no big deal. And then so now this next thing, mixer. This is pretty simple. Yeah, so I guess I'll just show the advanced audio properties as well. So the mixer, if you look down at the bottom, you can see that there are different things that are here. They're labeled too. I don't know how well you can see them, but it says desktop audio, condenser microphone, Discord/comms. So what those are separate audio inputs. My desktop audio is basically anything that's going to be going to my headphones from the computer. And then the condenser mic is actually the microphone I'm using to record. You can see a little bit of yellow there. That's currently where my mic is peaking at. If you don't know, a peak is basically the highest level that an audio source will hit when it has a signal going through it. And then the Discord/comms is actually set up a little bit different. I will definitely make a separate video on this, how I use my hardware instead of software, just because this is something that took me a while to figure out how I want to use it. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to in the past, but now I know what I want to do, and it's pretty simple, but you know, it's definitely handy on knowing how to use it. So if we go into advanced audio properties, so you have actually, what is this, 4 things here. Yep. So I have webcam, condenser mic, Discord comms, desktop audio. These, sorry, I'm just looking at something. It doesn't seem right. Oh well. So webcam is actually disabled on my computer because I don't want that to be set to default at all, because I normally just leave my webcam plugged in. Sometimes I don't, just because I move it or whatever. And then the scene transition is actually for this thing called studio mode. So if you click it, it does this, where it shows 2 separate windows. Now this is what I use when I stream. I will go into a separate thing for streaming, but you can also use this for recording. I don't recommend it. I recommend doing transitions and all that in editing. But if you wanted, so this is currently selected as my my game with webcam upper right. They're both that. So the right one will be the output, so what is recording or what is going out to stream. This one is what you can edit. So I'm going to change it so you can see that I'm upper right too. And it's different than this one. And if you select the radio green, you can see that I can move this around and it doesn't affect anything on the right side. Well, if I wanted to change it over, and there's different ways to do this. You can have a fade, you can have cuts, I think you can put custom ones in, which I have no experience in, but I've heard that you can do that. So if you want to move it over, you can click transition, and it moves over, and this is output, and then it will flop this over here. You can go into here and change settings and stuff on how you want to do that, but I'm not fully worried about that right now. Alright, so if you lock these down here in the sources, by the way, it will not allow you to move them, which is handy for when you are looking at specific things. And then the controls are, you know, if you can read, you can understand them. Starting streaming, start recording, studio mode, settings, and exit. I don't ever use the exit button. I didn't even realize that was there, really. I just click the X button. I'm assuming it's the same thing. I have no idea. All right, so now that we have down here out of the way, I will make a scene. You'll click the plus, and you'll name it. I'm going to name it how to. So it's that. So it's down at the bottom. I'm going to move it to the. I'm going to move to the top. Okay, it's right there. So now you can see that there's nothing here. The source is empty, so there's no sources in here. So if I wanted to add, say, the radio green and not the radio 910 logo, I will do image. So then you can see that I can create a new one, or you can add existing. So I have 4 unlabeled images, and this wanted to make a 5th one. There you can see the radio 910 and radio green. So you can move those into each other. And now I I'm very sure that it doesn't show you, or sorry, it doesn't affect any of the other ones, but it just brings this actual file in, so that way you don't have to make a whole new radio green and go find the file in whatever folder it's in. If you're anything like me, I have lots of folders, and you know, it is pretty organized, but I do have a lot of folders to dig through to get some of this stuff, but that's fine. So I have this loaded in, so you know, this could be the background or whatever, so you can resize it however you want, but I'm gonna say let's do here. And now a tip, if it's too big, instead of just squashing it down, you can move it around, or if you grab the corner, it will lock it to what's a ratio, I guess it's a good way of saying it. So you can see that, you know, it moves both sides equally. Whereas if you hold shift and do it, you can free shape it. Or as soon as you let go, it will lock back in. So if I want to do what I did for my gameplay, or like when I'm using my webcam, what I do is I move it up to the corner, and then if you hold down Alt, the Alt key, which is default, I believe, it will actually crop, and you can see the little green line that it turns into when you crop an edge. So that's about where I would maybe have it. Actually, I'd probably do a little bit smaller. Since my webcam's not working, we're not gonna worry about that. But I will show you how I use it. So that's there. Now I will add a background. Let's do image. Let's create a new image. Let's name it random. Random how to. Okay. Now I'm gonna go find an image, and I guess we'll just use that as the background. All right, so I went and just found a screenshot I had from some videos, or sorry, not video, some photo stuff I was working on. So I have the background here, and then I have my radio green on top, and basically where it is in the source column is relative to how it will be layered. So if I want the picture to be on top, I just move it and it will disappear because it's underneath being covered. So I have that, and actually I don't know what I'm doing. I know. I will add a, let's see, it's video capture device. So you can see I have my capture card and a webcam. My capture card I use for my Elgato, which you can use to record consoles and, you know, directly from a camera and such. That might be another video as well, because it's a pain in the butt to use that sometimes because of the delay. But we'll just select webcam, since that's actually technically the only thing I have plugged in. It is not active, so that actually should be causing issues with this. Yes, it is. Alright, so we added it in there, but that's how you do it. Video capture device is anything that, like a webcam or anything like that. So you put that in there, and then if I want to add another, say I wanted to add another thing so I could show like a clock. Alright, so I just made a pretty ugly clock on here. I'm gonna do a window capture. And then I will make this, I'll label it clock. So okay, and then it will give you a lot of stuff. Wow, okay, I have a lot of crap open here. Alright, so you can see that it is, you know, making a mess of my screen. So this is where the cropping comes in handy. So if you wanted to keep track of time or whatnot, or you had a countdown or something. And now you can see when I recorded this at what time and what day. I will put this up in this corner. Now, I'm gonna lock that in place. So that's how you add sources to scenes. That's pretty simple. Now I'm gonna show you audio settings.